Well, after watching the new rom-com One Night Only, I now know how the Purge became necessary. Two New Yorkers search for love on the one night of the year when sex is legal. Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner star in this near-future, slightly satirical romantic comedy that takes place in the United States where the conservative government leadership has outlawed premarital sex, except for one night a year for 12 hours. So we've basically got an entire country all pent up and frustrated, ready to explode when the clock hits 7 p.m. when they can all legally get jiggy with it. You kind of have to gloss over the logistics and plausibility of a whole country being enforced into a celibacy law. But in the small explanations we get, the commentary, it's pointed and funny, also a little bit scary. We know the government has already been taking cautionary tales like 1984, The Handmaid's Tale, other dystopian works as instruction manuals rather than warnings. So to have a movie centered around this idea actually doesn't seem too far out of the realm of possibility. And the Barbs pointed at the ultra-purity culture aiming to force their beliefs on everybody else contains some extremely funny, albeit brief, quips. Now, the whole one night for something previously outlawed to be allowed does create a parallel with the Purge films. Yeah. This one is way lighter and ultimately more positive. Or at least all parties who are affected, they get to have fun. But it is a strange thought that the Purge could come about as a result of all the suppressed horniness of a nation while they are prevented from having sex, which then necessitates some sort of release. And I know we could have an entire conversation wrapped around these ideas. That's not really the point of the review. And really, it is a small portion of the story, despite it being woven throughout the narrative. The central focus is on Barbaro's Allie and Turner's Owen, who keep running into each other as they each look for the person they want to hook up with. This is from director Will Gluck, who also gave us another rom-com filled with hunky and beautiful people, Anyone But You. And for those of you, like me, who enjoyed that movie, there are small Easter eggs tossed in One Night Only that show these two stories could be taking place in the same universe. But back to the duo, they're charming, funny, sometimes awkward, and obviously right from the start who we want to end up together. But to fill the hour 42 runtime, the pair need to get into strained and often humorous situations that continually endear us to them. And the story does a relatively good job of maintaining the momentum of successive mishaps that make their individual hookups go awry, somehow always leading them back to connect with each other. Now, the charisma that's shared between the two leads, it comes across as natural, but also intensifying. Through each interaction, we can see and feel some deeper connections being made. And that's what I want from my rom-coms. I want the happy fairy tale ending. And for this one, the story pretty much forgoes the whole arc of conflict that separates the two lovers only for them to both learn and then grow and then get back together. I mean, because they're not a couple to begin with, the story just simply focuses on the bond that builds and then the emotions that grow as a result. There are a bunch of supporting cast members in this that add to the craziness of this one night, but the two that stood out as spectacular are Molly Ringwald and LeVar Burton. They create some unexpected laughs that can be cringy but still sweet and then awkward. But the interactions of the dynamics that they construct with Callum Turner made me wince and laugh because you can just feel the uncomfortableness of the situations that they all share. And once again, we get to hear Monica Barbaro serenade us, similarly to how she did as Joan Baez in A Complete Unknown. Here, she gets to belt out renditions of pop songs that may have you singing along until the lyrics change to something completely unexpected. She's got an excellent voice, and when she harmonizes, she creates a whole new level of awesomeness for the soundtrack. Now, surprisingly, as much as I was digging the comedic exchanges and the scenes of coitus interruptus, the story began to feel a little long in the tooth. There are small bits of downtime that don't seem too slow on their own, but when combined with the multiple segments where the pace falters, it grows to be something that just can't be ignored. I mean, when the pair are searching for prophylactics or honing in on a horny participant, the energy and the momentum are steady and efficient. But then we get the aftermath. Sometimes the story uses these to add a little bit of social commentary, but those come across as forced or awkwardly inserted. Other times, we see the repetitive scenes of the actors with these forlorn looks as they lick their wounds from an unsuccessful copulation. And again, if it were just one or two of these scenes, I don't think the slowness would have been noticeable. But because there are more than a handful, the pacing drags. But besides the feeling of being too long and the need to suspend a lot of disbelief for the concept to just work, this was an easy and engaging romantic comedy that mainly succeeded in balancing the heart, sweetness, pitfalls, disappointment, and silliness. Both Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner are endearing on their own and as a duo, crafting interactions that come across as natural and believable while never feeling overly polished or forced. The abruptness of some of the humor creates spontaneous laughter and intentional groans, and Barbaro charms with her melodic vocal stylings, while the story, subtly and consistently, highlights the pitfalls for society through governmental attempts to mandate ludicrous purity laws. One Night Only may have a slightly ridiculous MacGuffin to create the story, but it'll still put a smile on your face and warm your heart. There's sex, a little bit of nudity, a lot of profanity, and some violence. I give One Night Only 3.5 out of 5 couches. This has a lot going for it, but if I had to choose this or Gluck's other recent film to rewatch, I'd go with Anyone But You. Okay, so what do you think of the story's premise? Is mandating celibacy a positive idea for society, or is it going to create a whole bunch of harm? Or if you don't want to go down just the philosophical route, what two beautiful actors would you like to see paired up in a rom-com? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.